As a successful professional poker player, Troy native Susie Zhao seemed to be living the American dream. But those dreams were cut short when her path crossed with a convicted sex offender.
He was sentenced today to life in prison for torturing and killing Zhao. 7 investigator Heather Catallo spoke with Susie's friends who have an important message.
Susie Zhao's closest friends did not learn until after she was murdered that Susie had been struggling with schizophrenia, and they now believe that if they had known she was in such a vulnerable state, there may have been a way to keep her safe from the man who killed her.
If this could happen to someone who was so smart and had a world-class education, this could absolutely happen to anyone.
Susie Zhao was brilliant, beautiful, and bold.
But more than anything, she was just really fun.
But Susie's life was brutally cut short in July of 2020. That's when the 33-year-old professional poker player's body was found in a remote part of the Pontiac Lake Recreation Area in White Lake Township. Police say Susie had been tied up and tortured.
Takes that gas can and douses her with gas and lights her on fire. And she's still alive.
Last month, a jury convicted 62-year-old Jeffrey Bernard Morris of Susie's murder. That murder left her best friends Meredith Rogowski and Michelle LeGroux stunned.
I was in disbelief. I was just shocked.
Susie's story starts in Troy, Michigan, at the age of 8, when Susie and her mom moved here from China. Meredith and Michelle say Susie started playing poker in middle school, hustling classmates on the school bus.
Poker was sort of how she experienced the American dream. It was, you start with really nothing and then turn that into tremendous wealth.
Susie attended Cranbrook for high school and studied math and psychology at Northwestern University. Then she headed to Los Angeles to pursue her poker dreams, ultimately winning at least $187,000.
It's a very male-dominated industry. She didn't look back or think twice about it.
Despite all her success, Susie's friends say they started to notice changes in her demeanor.
It was almost as if there was just a different look in her eyes.
She acted like Susie, but just more blank or subdued, if you will. But to me, I took it as possible drug usage.
In 2020, Susie moved home from LA. That July, Michelle took Susie up north for a weekend of outdoor fun with Michelle's 3-year-old daughter. But things were off.
I thought I was picking her up at her mom's, and I ended up at what I considered to be a shady motel.
Michelle says all weekend, Susie acted like she was on drugs.
I had my daughter in the back seat, and she was rolling and unrolling the window, turning up the music, turning it down, and at one point acted as if she was being like choked. And it just scared me.
Fearing for her daughter's safety, Michelle asked Susie to leave. It was later that night that police say Susie got a ride with Jeffrey Morris, who sexually assaulted and killed her. Meredith and Michelle say they only learned after her death that Susie had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. So what looked like drugged behavior may have actually been an episode of psychosis.
You're making a judgment call based on things that are incorrect, and it can put people in danger, and obviously it did.
That's why we think it's important to talk about this now, because there are still people out there who may be suffering in silence, and their friends and family don't know, and because of that, they may be putting themselves at increased risk for this type of violence.
Morris's attorney argued the prosecution did not make their case, but the jury disagreed. Today, Oakland County Circuit Court Judge Martha Anderson sentenced Morris to life in prison.
He took something away that he can't bring back. You know, I hope he thinks about that for the rest of his life. I just think we all need to do a lot better. And then it won't happen to somebody else in the future.
The judge told Morris today that she can't get over the brutality of this murder. Meanwhile, Susie's friends say they're going to continue to work to spread awareness about mental illness. We have more information about symptoms and how to get help at WXYZ.com. I'm Heather Catallo, 7 Action News.
Heather, thank you. Now, if you have a tip for the 7 investigators, you can reach out at the number on your screen right now or by emailing us tips at WXYZ.com.
Certainly.